Morning, everybody. Welcome to my daily broadcast for the Power of Connection channel on LinkedIn Live. My name is Bobby Umar, and I'm a professional speaker, coach, and a huge advocate for personal branding, thought leadership, entrepreneurship, and helping you with your careers and public speaking. So, today's topic is all about public speaking. I'm doing a series from Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days this week on public speaking. Today's part 3, which is pitching and getting and marketing yourself to get those speaking gigs that you want. Now, before we dive into the content, this is where I welcome people. So again, welcome to the show. Type below, where you're from. Are you coming from Africa, Asia, South America, North America, Europe? Let me know where you're from. First off, then later on, you can start engaging people on the content in the feed. You can start commenting on what we're talking about. If you have specific questions or you want to put those down there, and I'll get to those later on. If you have comments to add value to what the learning is, that's great. If you know people that want to be part of this broadcast or should be part of this, tag them or share this on your own page and tag a bunch of people to join the conversation. That's totally fine too. I'd love to have as many people in this conversation as we can. That's the idea. And of course, if you like what you hear, you can tap the like and the hearts and the light bulbs and all those little doohickeys, which is kind of sweet. But for now, I just want to kind of see people who are coming in and say hello, and then we'll get into the content. Then after that, I'll look at the questions and do some Q&A, look at some discussion, and then we'll kind of go from there. It'll last about 20-25 minutes. That's kind of the general gist of how we do things. All right. So thanks so much for joining me. And again, I'm here every morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, to deliver this broadcast. And let's see who's here. Already looks like a lot of people already. Oh, look at this already. Renee's here, of course. Melissa Moniz. Wow, I hadn't talked to you in Google. That's awesome. Good to see you. Faria from Pakistan. Mike, morning. Sayed, good. Everyone's coming in. That's good. Glad to see you. Hello from Turkey. Wow, I love this. I went to Istanbul. Beautiful city. That's amazing. So, looks like people are joining on board. Okay, from Halifax. I'm actually born on the East Coast, so I know Halifax very, very well. Tommy's here. Great. People are getting in. Now, before I even begin, what are some of your biggest questions when it comes to speaking? What are some of your biggest challenges? Like, when you think about speaking, you want to speak more or do more public speaking or build public speaking as part of your brand or even a full-time, part-time, full-time income as part of your brand. What exactly? I just mentioned Pakistan. Didn't I just say that? So my family's from there, so that's all good, right? Layla for here is like, you never mentioned Pakistan. I just did. There you go. Toronto, go Raptors. Raptors playing tonight first game. Super. Who's excited about that? Sophia's here. Good. Ains here. Awesome. Now, what are some of your challenges, that stops you from doing more public speaking? Let me know what they are. Put those below. I'm from Toronto, Canada, in case people are asking where I'm from. That's great. But yeah, let me know where your challenges are, and then also you can ask your questions, and I'll go through it. So, what we did the first day is I talked about why public speaking is so important, because every single one of you has a message for the world. Every single one of you has experience, insights, expertise, and stories to share with the world. And so you can all be a speaker. It's going to help your brand. It's going to help your company or your business or whatever it is to get more opportunities. So I think everyone should be doing more speaking. And then I talked about how to get going with starting with your initial topics, your brand, your profile, things like that. Welcome, Gora from Rochester. Welcome, Vishal. Welcome, Stefan. That's great. So that was the first one. And then the second one was I dove deeper into the topics and how to come up with the right topics. I think that's really important. And because a lot of people stop there. They can't even think about what they're pitching for their topics. Or their topics don't make sense, or the topics aren't compelling. And so we went into that. Today I'm going to talk about now marketing yourself and pitching yourself. Now, there are different ways to do this. Yeah, and Sajid Kumar is mentioning a challenge, which is the disconnect with the audience. How do you stay engaged? How do you stay connected? So again, let me know what questions you have, and is there a template to follow in terms of pitching? Well, everyone's different, but there are certain things you can do. So let's go through now all the different things you can do to market yourself. Now, we're going to go with the assumption, hey, Brenda from Detroit, we're going to go with the assumption that you've already done the work now of putting together the right speaker story, the right topics, right, with that triangle I mentioned 2 days ago, and and you've done your work to figure that stuff out. Now you have a strong brand that you can now pitch. Okay, that's we're gonna assume that's done. And if you need more help with that, you can certainly ask questions or whatever. But that's we're gonna assume that's done. So now you got to put together the right marketing materials. So you have to look at what are the different assets that you have. That's from well, good evening from Singapore, Richard. Thanks for joining us. That's great. So what's the first thing I want to put together? Well, there's lots. So first off, do you have a website? So if you don't have a website, I mean, you can use an About Me page or a LinkedIn profile, but it's actually better for you to have a clean website that talks about you as a speaker. Now, if you go to my rayallen.com website, you will see it is designed to be mostly promoting me as a speaker, although there are other stuff too, for my speaker mastermind and my other coaching stuff and whatever. But it's mostly about speaking. It's basically screaming, hire me as a professional speaker. That's what it's saying. And I see Vrishti got a question here that has nothing to do with public speaking. It's about job interviews, but they're related, so I'll answer it later. No problem. So your website has to be clean. It's got to clearly lay out your value proposition. And I think you also, if you have your speaker brand profile and story, then it should be compelling, right? Your story is going to get people excited about you. So it's going to be one paragraph, and that one liner about here's who you are. And you want to make sure that that's going to get people excited. It's nice to have some video on there. It's nice to have a clean photo, a couple of key points about who you are and your cred, as well as what the topics you talk about. That's going to get people's attention. If you are the networking expert, then say so. If you're the sales expert, then say so. If you're an expert on empathy or agile environments, say so, and make sure it's really clearly laid out there. So your website's going to be one part of your marketing tool. And again, this is before you even pitch. Make sure you have make sure you have a website that you can drive people to. Number two, you want to have a sell sheet. So what is your sell sheet going to say? Well, your sell sheet, again, is going to say similar things to the website, but often people will ask for that physical copy so they can print it up and show it to people. They don't, usually a website's harder to print up, so that one sheet can actually have a much more dense information, but it's going to talk about, you, your bio, your cred, highlights, maybe some testimonials. Who are some of the companies or places you've spoken at, and you can really lay that out. When I do my speaker mastermind, I actually give people a sample template, a 1-pager and a 2-pager, so people can see exactly how to put them together. But a template is a good thing to have in terms of quickly marketing yourself. And again, thanks for the thumbs ups and all the hearts. I appreciate that. So that's great. Sylvester's here and Dee's here. Great. So your speaker sell sheet is another thing that's going to be part of your arsenal of your marketing toolbox, as we call it. Then the third thing you got to think about is your video reel. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't have a video, well, then get some. Get a friend of yeah, it is a speaker sheet, D. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So, I mean, it sells who you are, right? So it lays out, this is, whether you have you're selling a book or selling you as a brand, you want to have that sell sheet that lays everything out about you, how awesome you are, so that people want to hire you. Now, video reel. Some of you may not have done a speech. Who here has done lots of speeches? If you have, then hopefully you have recordings of them. If you haven't, get on that. Why are you not getting recordings of you, speaking? Like, you should definitely do that. It's very important for you to get those speaking things. Okay, so it's important for you to work on that. And so let's say, so hopefully you've got content of you speaking. Now, if you have content of you speaking on stage at many places, then it'd be nice to kind of edit that together. That would be kind of cool. If you can't do that or can't afford that, that's fine. One for 2-3 minutes of you speaking, where you're really showing your stuff or showing your insights and showing how good you are, then that's going to be really helpful. Now, for those of you who don't have one, Dee's asking about the speaker mastermind. Well, it's actually in the link. So if you go to my website, it's all there, so you can see everything there. Having a doc, and Lee said, Lee Mitchell, hi! I love when my friends show up. It's so cool. Having a document as you are describing is critical. Yeah, exactly. The speaker sheet's important. But let's back to the video reel now. So if you don't have one, then get someone to record you doing a video, just talking about your favorite topic and show how passionate and smart and articulate and insightful you are. That's very important. So I would, put together a reel of just you speaking for 2 minutes. Try to make it look professional, look nice, have good lighting. You can check out the Master Video program to understand what's good lighting and what's good techniques for creating some really strong videos. But put one together, because people, seeing you speak is going to be huge. Whether you want to get a TEDx talk or whether you want to get a speaking gig, they're going to want to see that. They're going to see you speak. Okay, so your video reel is going to be very important. Now that we have all those key assets, right? Your website, your speaker shell sheet, and your video reel. And again, video reel, you don't have to do everything. Like, I'm not saying if you don't have all three, you can't pitch. You can still pitch. You can pitch with just a website, right? Dee, thanks for your question about in my actual, hey Anthony, in my actual post, you should be able to see at the top where if you click see more, you'll be able to see all the different links that are on this page. But you can also go to my profile and see everything. Okay, but there are lots of great questions here, so I'll get to that in a moment. So what's next then? Now you got to pitch yourself. So the other thing you should have been doing way back in part 1 is targeting. So who's your target? Like based on your topics and based on your brand and your story, who are you targeting for your speaking opportunities? Is it tech industry? Is it finance industry? Is it nonprofit? Is it schools? Is it high schools, colleges? Like what exactly is it? Once you know what that is, then you have to be able to come up with a pitch. Now, you have to come up with two things. One is your subject line template. Like what are some of your subject lines that are going to get people's attention, right? So in my speaker mastermind, for example, I share 10 really catchy subject line strategies that help people get there. Now, I'll give you one that I've used that, for example, got me the gig in Poland last year, and they flew me out. But it got me another one, which was, I said, would you like 99.6% feedback on your speakers? Here's one for you right now, and it's basically what I'm telling them, and that's true because I did get 99.6% feedback on a talk that I did. So I put that in there because it got their attention, and they're like, "Wow, that's really great," and they wanted to have me out. So that's something very, very catchy that gets their attention, right? You have to serve their when you think of the subject line, you got to write it in a way that they care about it, right? Like what do they care about? Okay. Now this is again my 8:30 a.m. daily broadcast Monday to Friday on the Power of Connection broadcast for LinkedIn Live. I'm Bobby Umar, and I'm here every day 8:30 a.m. If you like what you're seeing, please like, comment, share, post, tag people. Let's get people part of the conversation. Today I'm doing part 3 of my public speaking series, and I'm talking about how to pitch and get those speaking gigs through marketing yourself as a speaker. Okay, and this is something that I work with a lot of people on. So I'd love to get more people as part of the conversation. Let's just talk a bit more about it. I've talked about the first few things you need to do. So one was your website, the other one is a speaker sell sheet, the other one is a demo video reel. The fourth one is your email subject line templates that will get people's attention. Then there's the email. Now the email also has to then be able to pitch you in a way that's very, very effective. Now it's good to have keep it short and sweet, right? Short and concise. Don't go on and on and on, right? You want to get their attention to start the conversation. You don't want to actually just say, look, here's what I do, and here's the benefits. Here's what people said about me. Would you like to have a conversation more about how I can benefit you, or let me know what are some of your key challenges for your event, or are you looking to take your event to the next level with this type of expertise or dynamism or whatever it might be. So again, putting together those templates, and again, I have a whole bunch of templates that I use in my mastermind. But you got to come up with the right one that works for you. Now it's usually good to have more than one. Depending on who you're calling or contacting. And the other thing, of course, you can do is you can call people. I mean, you can use warm leads by reaching out to people on LinkedIn. You can call people you can start letting people, the world know that you're trying to do more speaking. That's another way to also market and pitch yourself. Definitely using social media. Social media is a huge tool. So if you build a huge following on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatnot, and you start talking about the things that you're an expert on. That's why I encourage people to do more speaking. Like every time I message people on LinkedIn, I say, hey, so are you doing any more speaking gigs? I always ask that because it's so important for you to build your brand and get out there. And speaking is the best way to build a thought leadership brand around your expertise, your experience, and your stories. And that's going to get you more opportunities for business clients. It's going to get you more opportunities for your career. It's going to get you more opportunities to build your brand, build your business. So that's why I'm a huge advocate for doing that, right? So and I already talked about that in the first one on Monday. Right, so you want to have the really strong email. You can also call people as well, which I think is really important. So make sure you're calling people and letting them know what's going on, okay, about who you are and what you're all about. So emailing and calling people. The other way in which you can market yourself, of course, is networking events. So you go to events and you start chatting with people about, finding out a little bit about them and how you can help them, and then tell them. And when they ask you, tell them a bit about who you are and what you're doing. You share expertise in a thoughtful, articulate, eloquent way, and pretty soon they're going to remember you. And next thing you know, you're going to have an opportunity to pitch, what you're doing as a speaker. Or they may just come to say, "Hey, Bobby, I saw your video." Sharing that value, sharing that those videos are great. Say, "Hey, I saw your video. It really blew my mind how passionate you were and how energetic you were and how insightful you are. We'd love to bring you in to do such and such." Right? So that's another great way to get people's attention by networking, and don't ever hold back on networking. Networking is a whole other topic, and again, I have networking is something I love. I have my own networking mastery program, and it's one of the first things I ever did back in the day. Um, and I think that networking is something everyone needs to learn how to do, how to create more connection. That's why my channel is called the Power Connection channel, because I'm all about connecting. So I focus on connecting with yourself. I focus on connecting with connecting yourself with personal branding. Connecting with others is networking, and connecting with the world is digital marketing and digital influence. So that's where those are my three topics that I talk about. So now we're talking about how to and so we talk. So networking is another way to again get out there and market yourself and pitch yourself. And then the last way that you can market yourself is creating content. So doing webinars, doing videos, doing live streams like this, posting, status updates, articles, blogs. These are all ways for you to demonstrate your expertise, to demonstrate who you are, to show your passion, to show your insights, to show your expertise, so that people might say, yeah, you know what? You can write a book too. These are things you can do to get noticed and build a brand around your expertise, a thought leadership brand. That's what you want, right? And so those are things you can do. Now, if you want to be a speaker, I highly encourage you to put videos up on LinkedIn versus just blog posts or status updates via text. The reason you want to do that, because ultimately you want to see people hire you for your speaking piece, right? So if you're going to shy away from that, like that's a challenge right away. But and I know most people, every speaker who started out was a bad speaker, right? The first thing we ever say was bleh, because we're born, right? so for the most part, you want to make sure that you do a better job of learning to be a better speaker, and keep working on your speaking to try to become a better person and work on your craft. And actually, while we're talking about it, I actually do a webinar on how to 10 tips to become a successful public speaker. It's a webinar I do. I post about it online on Twitter and stuff. So if you want to check that out, you can probably find the links there. Now, while we're talking, I think we've covered everything now. So we've covered the whole gamut of the things to market yourself. Now, the other thing you can do, of course, is you can hire someone to market for you. You can hire a PR agency to market for you. Like, for example, my friend Rania, she has a PR agency. She's lovely. She can market for you. You can hire someone else, like an admin assistant or someone else to pitch for you. And then finally, you can maybe get a speakers bureau. And now, speakers bureaus are hard to get. They're looking for people that either have a very strong brand and tons of followers and a lot of influence, or they're looking for people who have a success of repeated speaking gigs over a period of time, right? Because then they know that there's traction around you're doing, or that you have a unique selling proposition around your expertise. Like maybe you're the foremost expertise on nanotechnology, then that's probably going to help you in terms of your brand, and so they could probably sell you on that. So you can certainly go to a speaking agent. I work with my speaking agent, National Speakers Bureau, and the Global Speakers Agency. I love them. They're really great. It's a nice family. They do great work, and I'm very grateful that we've been able to work together for several years. So my agent is really good. I think that they do a lot of the work, that heavy lifting that maybe is not your strength. Like, I'm certainly I'm pretty good at details and pretty good at follow-ups and logistics when I need to be, but I don't want to be. I don't want to do that stuff. I'd rather be more big picture and selling and persuasion, influence, and things like that, and creating content. So they cover that other stuff, which is great. So, in fact, I think I'm going to try to maybe do a LinkedIn Live interview at their place, because every Wednesday I do a weekly interview. Yesterday I did Marianne Kerr. Next week I'm doing, I forget who I'm doing. Is it Amy Jenkins, I think her name? I have to check my calendar. And then I'm looking at Emily Jones and Emily Lyons, and then also there's Alison Schaefer. I'm trying to book Amber Mack. So I'm trying to build that up. And again, if you like what you're hearing, tag people, share the content, let me know. And if you have any questions below, let me know and I'll get to it. Just as an FYI, my computer has crashed. So I'm looking right now, it's crashed and it's rebooting. So once it reboots, I'll get to the questions, because I saw a bunch of them that people were asking. I do remember one, which was, how long should your sizzle reel be? Well, your video reel. Well, you should have ideally you should have a short one and a long one. To have a short one that's only a minute long, and then have a long one that's like 2.5 to 3 minutes long. To really, and the 3 minute one long is either one that shows you diving deeper into a topic, or is a highlight of a couple of places where you're really knocking things out of the park. So you kind of want to have a mix of those two things. All right. So, and again, if you have any other questions around, public speaking and how to get speaking gigs, how to market yourself, all that kind of stuff, comment below. Let me know. You can also, if you want to learn more, I'm doing more stuff outside of LinkedIn Lives, and you can also DM me around that, and I'm happy to help those people. If you're looking to hire me as a speaker, hey, that's great. Bring me in. Let's talk about that. Maybe we can do a session on how to do more public speaking. That would be a lot of fun. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm doing. Is what I love to do, and that's why I'm doing this thing. And tomorrow, actually, the plan is we've covered pitching. Then I'm actually going to talk about the last thing I'm going to talk about is how to deliver a world-class presentation, some tips around that, and then I'm also going to talk about how to build a huge following on social media and manage that relationship, because managing the relationship is also really important. And one thing I will say about marketing yourself too, it's also important for you to know your value, right? So if you're gonna get out there and pitch yourself, you have to negotiate price. You have to know your value. What do you bring? Like, what's the price point you're gonna come up with? You have to think about what that is. What will the market bear? What is your depth of value that you're bringing? The experience that you have. If you're just starting out, it may be lower, which is fine to get started. Like when I first started out, it was much low, and I did a lot of free stuff. Now, the only free stuff I would ever do is if it was for like my nephew, like my best friend, or if it's like a TEDx talk, because they don't usually pay. But because I've been doing this for 14 years as a professional speaker. But it just depends on the opportunity. But you have to kind of think about, look at your speaker objectives. Is your objective to grow yourself as a speaker full time? Then you're gonna have to make different choices than someone who just wants to speak, 5-6 times a year and just give back because they're already successful in their business. So it's going to vary from person to person in terms of what that is. And again, my computer's loading up, so I'm going to get to more questions. You can add more questions, more comments, ask each other, share each other with your information about what you think is important about speaking and marketing yourself as a speaker. I remember another question that was really all about interviews, and that was it's a segue, but being a good speaker is also being a good interviewer too. So one tip I'll give for interviews, since we're going to segue a little bit here while my computer loads up, for interviews is you want to be able to create stories. For every single question they're going to ask you, tell us about your strength, tell us about your weakness, tell us about a time you overcame a challenge, tell us about a time, how do you deal with conflict. Every single one of those questions should have a story behind it. And your story should be something that says, here's the situation, here are the actions I took, and here was the end result, and how I changed as a person. And when you do that, you're sharing more than who you are. You're sharing your values, you're sharing your principles, you're sharing your beliefs and your culture and what you stand for. And so storytelling is a very powerful tool when it comes to interviews to make yourself more relatable, to create a deeper connection, and to hopefully land that job because they want to work with someone they feel that they can fit with. So that's why I say that. I think it's such an important thing for people to understand about speaking. All right, so and right now again my laptop's loading up, so I apologize for the delay in terms of answering questions. Some other questions. Let me just guess at what some of the questions are because people always ask. So sometimes people want to know about pitching yourself. Like when you send an email right away, do you pitch right away? You can. I mean, you can as long as it's incredibly compelling. Right, as long as you have a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of what value add, that's great. But remember, focus on the person you're sending the email to, right? You want to deliver value to them. You don't want to actually. There's a difference between showing your value and targeting them to bring them value. That's a different thing. So you need to focus on bringing them tremendous value, right? So you could say something like have you ever had a speaker that was good at engaging the crowd, but then they left and no one actually they didn't stick around to talk? Well, I think it's important for a speaker to stick around and talk and engage the whole day. So that's something I want to do. Is that something that you would value, your delegates would value? In most cases, they'll say yes. Give them a question they can answer yes to, right? Are you looking for a speaker that's actually willing to go to the audience and actually create interactive activities that really drive home the point and really help drive in the information learning from the actual talk or the session? If so, message me back because I can share with you 3 of my best interactive activities and talks that I've done over the last 10 years as a speaker around the world. And so what I've done there is I've kind of said, here's the value. Is this something you value? And then I threw in a little bit about my brand, right? So those are little things you can do to try to get their attention so that they're going to want to work with you, right? So that's another really common question that I get in terms of becoming a speaker. And again, other question that people get is, do I need to have a website? I think generally speaking, you need to have a website. I mean, It's just a no-brainer to have a website. But if you don't want a website, if you want to put together a really good about me page, or you want to put together just your LinkedIn profile, you gotta give them something. They're gonna want like, you can't just send an email and they're like, minimally you have to have some sort of link you can send them to. Something. That's minimal. It's better to have a video reel. It's better to have a speaker sell sheet. It's better to have a website. But minimally, you want to have a link that they can go to and say, oh yeah, there that person is, and oh, I see them speaking. Yeah, they're really good. Or they laid out who they are. You want to have something like that, because if you don't have that, then you're not going to get the traction that you need to get them to want to keep the conversation going, right? Because that's the goal of having the email, is to start a conversation. You want to get them on a call to talk about who you are, what you bring to the table as a speaker, right? Because if you do that, then there's more opportunities for you to become that speaker and get that opportunity. And this is the same whether you want to, depending on what kind of speaking you want to do. Do you want to do a keynote? Do you want to do a panel? Do you want to do a workshop? Do you want to do you want to MC or host? Do you want to facilitate some sort of networking session? There's different types of speakers, right? So you need to know what that is. The other thing that also helps you too is to know your speaker style. I have this downloadable PDF called "What is Your Superhero Speaking Style," and it lays out the different types of heroes out there, speaking styles for different types of heroes. And it's kind of a fun read to help you understand kind of where your overall speaker brand is, because again, every one of us is different in terms of how we speak. Now, my laptop's taking a long time to load up, so I may have to cut this short, but because I've been talking for 26 minutes, and you might be like having to get back to work. But if it does load up, I will get to questions, and I'm happy to do that, because I think it's important to answer your Q&A. I apologize for my computer crashing. I don't know what happened, but hey, tech fails happen every day. And like I said, I do this every day, 8:30 a.m. My whole point here is to deliver value for you and for your career, for your business, for your speaking, as your entrepreneurship, to build your personal brands. Because again, I'm a huge advocate for that. And you can find more about me and my stuff in the links in the post, or you can go to my LinkedIn profile. You can find out more about what I'm doing. I do have a special offer that's going on. A lot of people who aren't able to afford my high-end program, things like that. I do have a program for young students or young entrepreneurs with limited budgets. I'll call Patreon, and on my Patreon page, I have this thing. It's a career development page where I offer exclusive content and potential coaching. The deal I'm offering this week actually is the first 5 people who sign up for the second tier or higher will get one free hour of coaching or consulting from me. And the tiers are really low end, low price. So you're going to get a huge deal from that. So hope you guys can check that out and be part of that community, because it's something I'm working on, as well as my other stuff. I mean, I work on my DYPB startup. I also work on my speaker mastermind group. I also work on the page for the Patreon page to help build a community there of younger entrepreneurs and things like that. So over there, I share career development content around networking and career development and speaking and things like that. All right, let's see. Okay, I think now I can get back to my my post here, and I can start answering some of the questions, because there's probably lots. Oh my gosh. Okay, look at all these comments. All right, I gotta get to this. Here we go. All right, so now I'm back on the live feed. I see all the people here. Wow, look at those people that are on this thing. Okay, let's get to this. So Marianne's in Halifax. I see that. Let's see. Agreed. Let's see. Marianne did an international conference. The evaluation was 9% great, but there are a few really unkind comments. How do you avoid focusing on the mean stuff? So how do you avoid focus on mean comments and feedback? Well, the truth is there's always going to be haters. Like I was a professor at York University, and my professor rating is like 4.7 out of 5, right? The rateyourprofessor.com site. But there's one guy there who didn't like me. And I know who it is, but it's just like, what are you going to do? Like, I mean, the truth is every single audience has people that aren't going to like you. So don't worry about it. Like Sanjay Nath, my speaking mentor, told me that the 10-80-10 rule. There's a top 10% who absolutely love you. There's the 80% in the middle, and the top 10% that don't care. And that top 10%, if they comment, you cannot worry so much about it. Now, what you can do is look at the feedback. Is there any value in that feedback? Right? They say, well, I didn't like the way you did this. Well, take the time to listen to understand exactly what they meant. Is there something there that you can use for value to help you out with your speaking? Because if it is, then use it. All right? So I definitely think you should do that. Now, let's see other things here. Morning, Lubna. Okay, Brenda asked, thoughts on asking if the organization has a speaker budget when you're asked to speak? Yeah, I mean, you can ask us for a speaker budget when you're asked to speak. It's up to you if you really want to do that, right? So, I mean, one of the things that I would say is that if they are a nonprofit, right, you have to keep that in mind. Like maybe, like for me, I'm a professional speaker, right? So when they ask me to speak, this is how I make a living, this is how I make money. So therefore, I expect a speaker fee, and I'll specifically say so. But if you're not, if you're vice president of some organization and they're going to reach out to you because they think that you already make lots of money, so they're hoping you can give back, right? So it's a different context, right? But there's nothing wrong with asking for it. Just prepared for the answer to be no, and then you have to decide, now what am I going to do, right? Thanks, Victor. Carlisle's here. George, okay. Oh my gosh. Jamie talks about TEDx around one punch murder manslaughter. Wow, about your nephew was killed. Wow, that's really powerful, Jamie. Thanks for sharing that. If everyone wants, maybe you can share your link to your TED Talk so people can see it. It sounds like a really powerful TED Talk. I should get a service. Yeah, that's true. Thanks so much. Hope the Raptors win. Yes. I can't seem to find the other questions here. Shoot. Well, if people have any other questions, it looks like I can't find the other questions. That's kind of a bummer. I'm kind of loading this up, but I can't see them. Let's see. Let me just refresh this and see if I can see the questions here. No, I can't. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back to my profile and see if I can find the questions just in the comments. Because again, I want to make sure I address the comments. I know that's really important. So here we go. Let's see here, and I can look at the comments here. Okay, here we go. And all right. Okay, here we go. Okay. Load more comments. Oh, here we go. Okay, how long is the speaker sizzle reel? I saw that one. Okay. People are also sharing their challenges with the audience in terms of what are some of the challenges they're having. Okay, good to know. Let's see other questions. The morning from Toronto. Okay. Lots of good mornings. Okay, that's good. I like good mornings. It's all good. Here we go. Would you suggest a book called Public Speaking for Success by Dale Carnegie? Yeah, Dale Carnegie's books are great. So whether it's the one for speaking or the one on how to win friends and influence people, yeah, highly recommended. That's great. Another question by Sylvester. Should you sell yourself as a brand or create a name? Because there are a lot of things like politics, religion, etc., which can make someone think that it's your opinion. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You should always think of yourself as a brand, right? Because your brand is your reputation, your integrity, what people think of you, how they perceive you. I mean, I always say you should stick to your name, right? So like your name, Sylvester, name Bobby. I think that's probably the better way to position yourself. But you can also use your company name, right? You could say Sylvester, CEO of Company X, Bob Umar, CEO of Ray Allen or CEO of DYPB. You can certainly pitch yourself that way, but in the most part, it's not going to be that much of an issue, right? You want to pitch the thing that they care about. Most companies care about the brand of your company and the things you've done. But if you have your name and here's my accomplishments, that's all you need. You don't need to have your company. But if your company's one where you made 8 figures and $100 million, then by all means use that. But you can still use your name. That's fine. Okay, other questions. Let's see. How do I find? Is there a speaker? Is this like speaker sheet? Yes, the speaker sell sheet's like a speaker sheet. Some tips to make your pitch better for job interviews. We talked about that already. How do I find out about the speaker mastermind? I talked about that already. Is there a template to follow? Well, I mean, generally there's a template, but I mean, there are things you can adjust depending on who you are. Some great stuff here. The fear of making sure that your speech is in line with what you are trying to address in connection and feedback. So that's one of the fears people have. So I asked about people share their fears and issues around speaking. Does your speech, and then that's why your speaker story and brand is so important, to make sure it's aligned with your target, your expertise, and what you're trying to deliver as a lesson. That's really important. Another question by D. As an aspiring speaker, is it okay to have more videos versus speaking live? Well, I think it's better to have more video of you speaking live at an event, because that shows that you're an established speaker. Now, if you're just an aspiring speaker, then at least having video content is a great start, right? But you want to get there right away, get that first gig right away. In fact, I have another downloadable PDF, which is how to get your first speaking gig right away, right? And it's available on my website, but it's something that you can also use to help yourself out. So I think it's important for you to get more video no matter what, right? So just get some video, man. Other questions, if you have any other questions. Oh, okay, I don't see any more questions. So it looks like we're done with the questions, and I think that we're probably, if anyone has any more questions on speaking, how to pitch yourself, how to get those gigs, let me know, because I want to help people as many as I can before I sign off for the day. We've already gone a little bit over today, so that's going to happen. I totally understand that. I'm texting. You ever say y'all? Yeah, I say that. Y'all come back now here, or yeah. What's up, y'all? Like, I've done that. We could do that. We could do that in Canada too. And thanks, Cindy. Cindy joined me on Patreon. I know. Thank you so much for that. That's great. I think I already sent you a message, but I'll send you another one as well. That's great. And I'm not sure if I see any other questions here. If there are no more questions, then I think that we will probably sign off for today. Again, I'm here every day in the morning, 8:30 a.m. to share my content. Tomorrow we're going to do part 4 of public speaking, and I'll get into delivering a world-class presentation and delivering content to support and to how to manage your followers, how to manage relationships, and build that up as a speaker. All right, so I think that's all for today, guys. Unless a question shows up last minute, I think I'm going to sign off. I mean, I'm glad there's 100 people on here, which is great, but I think it's time for me to sign off and get back to work. But I really appreciate all of you who've joined the chat, and look for me tomorrow. Tag people, share us on your page, tag lots of people. Let's get people part of the conversation. I'd love to grow and build this channel to serve as many people as you can. All right, because if you're looking for support on your careers, leadership, entrepreneurship, public speaking, personal branding, and things like that, I will definitely be there to help y'all. All right, wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. Talk soon.